Hello students, welcome to the computer science practical session. I am Kirti from computer science department, gsipucmysuru College, Mysore. In this session I am going to explain second C++ program, that is write a C++ program to insert an element into an array at a given position. The agenda of this program is to insert an element into an array at a given position. Consider an array which contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So here the array name is A. A is the name of an array. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are all the indices of an array, or we can call the index of an array. So in this array, the array contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60 as its elements. So if I want to add an element called 30, so this element is called as an item. I want to insert an item called 30 into an array at position 2. So A another array. So array li 10, 20, 40, 50, 60 anta elements ide. So ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 30 ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ 2 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So now let's see what are the steps we have to follow while inserting an element into an array. So first step is we have to get the item to be inserted into an array. Get the item to be inserted, say X. In the second step, we should know at which position we have to insert this item. So get the position at which the item X has to be inserted. Say position. In step 3, what we have to do, after collecting the item as well as position, we have to move the items from the asked position to the next higher position. So shift the items from the asked position till the last element. We have to shift the elements or the items from the asked position till the last element to its next higher position. And do this for all the elements from the asked position till the last element of an array. Insert, in the last step, insert the item at the required position. At the required position. So now add this item 30 into this array. So an array A contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60 as its elements. So this is before insertion. So before insertion the array will be like this. So I want to add an item called 30 at position 2. For that what we have to do? We have to shift the items to its next higher position. So how to shift the elements? So for the last element till the asked position we have to shift to the next higher positions. 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So this is the next higher position to shift the elements. So I am going to shift 60 to the position 5. 60 to the position 5. In the next phase, we have to shift an item 50 to position 4. 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. See, in this step I have shifted 50 from position 3 to position 4. In the next phase, we have to shift 40 to position 3. So in this step at position 2 is empty now. So in this place I want to insert an item 30. So in the next phase I am going to insert an item 30 at position 2. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is, n is equal to n plus 1. See, before insertion, the size of an array is 4. But after insertion of an element into an array, the array size becomes 5. So this is how we are going to insert an element into an array. Now let's write an algorithm for this. algorithm. So in this algorithm, insertion of an element into an array A with n elements. I want to insert an item at the required position. So A is an array with n elements. Item is the element. To be inserted at position POS. So these are all the prerequisites to write an algorithm for insertion of an element into an array. So what is the first step? So using the for loop, I am going to shift all the elements to its next higher position. For I is equal to n minus 1 down to position. That is, for I is equal to n minus 1 is nothing but the last position. N minus 1 is the last position. Down to position means till the required position. What we have to do? We have to shift the elements to its next higher position. So A of I plus 1 becomes A of I. So what is this A of I plus 1? So A of I plus 1 is nothing but the next higher position. So for the next higher position, we are shifting the elements of A of ith position. This for loop has to get repeated until we shift all the elements from the last position till the required position. End of for loop. In step 2, after shifting all the elements, so the required position will become empty. So at this position, what we have to do? We have to insert an item. So here I have inserted the item called 30 at position 2. So at position, that is A of position, I have to insert an item 30 is equal to item. So in step 3, after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. Step 4, exit. So in this algorithm, A is an array with n elements and item is the element to be inserted at position POS. So for I is equal to n minus 1 down to position, that is from the last position till the required position, we have to shift the elements to its next higher position. So for the next higher position, what we have to do? We have to shift the elements. That is A of I plus 1 is equal to A of I. So after shifting all the elements, the required position becomes empty. So in that place we have to insert an item. In step 3, after inserting an item into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. So this is the algorithm for insertion of an element into an array. Let's write a C++ program for insertion of an element into an array. So what is the first step while writing the program? We have to include the required header files for our C++ program. The first header file is #include iostream.h. So this header file is used for basic input-output services which is required for C++ programs. So this header file uses objects like scene and cout, which is used for sending data to and from the standard input and output devices. And next header file is #include conio.h. So this header file is used in our program to use the functions like clear screen and getch. And next header file I am going to write is #include iomanip.h. iomanip.h header file is used to manipulate the output in the C++ program like setW function. SetW function is used to set the required field width between the elements in the output. Next header file is #include stdlib.h. I am going to use this header file because I am using exit function in our program. So now I am creating a class called insert. Class called insert. So in the private section, I am going to declare the variables which are required for our program. Private int. What are all the variables we require in our program? That is array name. That is A of 10. Then position, size of an array, and the element to be inserted. In the public section, I am going to declare the functions which are required in our program. So which are the functions we require? Get data, void get data. Why the return type is void? Because this function is not returning any value. So the return type is void get data function. So get data function is used to accept the required data from the user. Next function is void compute. So void compute. This compute function is used to write the required calculations which is needed for our program. Next is void display function. Display function is used to display the output on the screen. So I am going to close the class using semicolon. Void insert. So I am defining the function outside the class. So I am using this scope resolution operator. So what is the first function? That is get data function. So what are all the required information? First we have to accept the size of an array. We have to enter the size of an array. So I want to display it on the display screen. So for that I am using cout statement to display the data on the screen using this insertion operator. Enter the size of an array. Enter the size of an array. Using cin is used to read the data from the standard input device. So this is our extraction operator. So what is the size of the array? The size of the array is n. Next, we have to accept the array elements. Enter the array elements. Using for loop, I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. In the scene, I am going to accept the array elements. So next, enter the element to be inserted. Enter the element to be inserted. Next, what we have to? We have to accept the position at which the element has to get inserted. So cout enter the position at which element has to be inserted. Position. So this is about get data function. Next is compute. So we have to perform the required calculations. So void, the return type is void. What is the class name? The class name is insert. We are defining the function outside the class. That's why we are using scope resolution operator here. Compute function. So this function is referring to the class insert. So if the position is greater than n, if the position is greater than n, then it is an invalid position. We cannot insert an element at that position. We cannot insert an element at that position if the position is greater than n. Cout position is invalid position. if the position is greater than n, we cannot insert an element. So that it has to exit from the program execution. That is, it has to terminate the program execution. For that I am using exit function, exit of 0. So return code 0 exits the program without any error messages. So if this condition is false, then if this condition is false, then we can shift all the elements from the last position till the required position to its next higher positions. For I is equal to n minus 1, I greater than is equal to position I minus minus. So in the array 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So we have to shift the elements, that is I is equal to n minus 1 is, that is the last element, that is last position. We have to shift the elements to its next higher position. That is I greater than is equal to position. I greater than is equal to position. Yes, the required position is 2. So I, the value of I is 4. 4 is greater than is equal to 2. For I is equal to n minus 1. N minus 1 is nothing but the last element. That is the last element. I greater than is equal to position. We are checking for the condition. What is the condition? I greater than is equal to position. Yes, the value of I is 4. 4 is greater than position. So at which position we want to insert an item? At position 2 we have to insert an item. Hence the last position is greater than 2. That is I is greater than is equal to, I is greater than is equal to 2. So hence we can shift all the elements from the last position till the required position to its next higher position. That is A of I plus 1 is equal to A of I. So after shifting the first, that is the last element, to its next higher position, I have to shift the next lower position, that is the element 50 to next higher position. For that I have to come to the lower position. For that purpose I have written I minus minus. So after shifting all the elements from the last position till the required position becomes empty. So at that position I have to insert the item, that is A of position is equal to element. A of position is equal to element. So after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1, that is n is equal to n plus 1. So close this function. Next, display, that is void. What is the class name? The class name is insert. What is the function name? That is display function. So in the display function we have to display the array after insertion. So cout after inserting an element into an array, So from first position till the last position, I have to display the array elements. So that for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. C in A of I, set W of. So why we are using set W function here? Set W function is used to set the required field width between the array elements. So now we have to create an object for the class insert. In the main function, we have to create an object for the class insert. So how to create an object? First we have to write the class name, then the object name. Insert I. Clear screen function. Next, call all the functions using this object. I dot get data function, I dot compute function, I dot display function. Close this main function. So what is the output for this program? So I dot get data. So get data function is called. So in the get data function, first we are asking the user to enter the size of an array, right? Enter the size of an array. So the size of an array is 5. Next, enter the array elements. Enter the array elements. So what are the array elements? It is 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. Next. Next is enter the element to be inserted. Enter the element to be inserted. So which element we want to insert? We want to insert an item called 30. Next we have to accept the position to where the element has to be inserted. Enter the position at which element has to be inserted. At which position I want to insert? I want to insert at position 2. So enter 2 here. So this is about get data function. Next, I am calling compute function. So in the compute function, it will check whether the position is greater than n or not. Position is not greater than n. So I am going to insert the element at the required position. Then in the display function, I am calling display function here. So now I am going to display the array after insertion. That is, after inserting an element into an array. So the array contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So this is the output for this program. So this is how we are going to insert an element into an array. Now let's see how to execute this C++ program in Turbo C++.
You will get a screen. There click File, New. To enlarge the screen, here you have to click. Then you can able to enlarge the screen. Then here type the program. Before typing the program, write a command. Write a program to insert an element into an array at a given position. Then to close that command, star division slash. If you want, you can use single line command, otherwise multi-line command also you can use. Here now we are going to type the program hash include iostream .h. This is a supporting header file for cin as well as cout. Next header file hash include conio.h. This is a supporting file for clear screen as well as getch. Next header file hash include iomanip.h. iomanip.h. In the program we are using setw function. Further, this is a supporting header file. Next, hash include stdlib, standard library function. This is a supporting header file. When we are in the program, we are using exit function. If you want to work that exit function, then we require this stdlib.header file. Otherwise, if you want, you can use process.h header file also. Next, we want to start with the class. Try to type entire thing in small letter only. Then class, then next leave one space, then class name insertion. Inside this, open the flower bracket, then declare the members in private section, data members, then colon, int a of 10. The array size here we are given as a 10. Each variable is separated by comma operator, n, next element, comma position. Then in public section, declare the functions. That is the first function void get data function. Get data function. We are writing the statement outside the class. For the sake, you have to put semicolon here. Next function void compute function. Compute function semicolon. Next one void display function. Then next close the class. To close the class, put flower bracket, then after flower bracket you have to put semicolon. Next, one by one write the statement of the functions. First one void insertion is the class name. Then next scope resolution operator get data function. We are writing the statement outside the class. Here for the sake no need to put semicolon here. Now write on this function one by one. Cout insertion operator, inside the double quotes write down enter array size. Array size. Then to move the cursor next line end line function. Next cin insertion operator input the array size, that is n here we are written. Next cout insertion operator inside the double quotes write down enter array elements. Then end line, to move the cursor end line. Next cin. Before that we want to input all the elements one by one. For the sake use for loop. For open the bracket int I equals 0, initializing to 0. Then I is less than n, I plus plus. Cin extraction operator A of I. One by one we can able to input here. Next, cout insertion operator inside the double quotes, write down enter the inserted element. Inserted element, where you want to insert that element, you have to write. Then to move the cursor next line, end line function. Next, cin extraction operator ELE, that is the element we want to insert. Next, cout insertion operator inside the double quote, write down enter the position where you want to insert an element. Then next, cin extraction operator position. Then close this function. Now next function we will write, that is void insertion, that is compute function, scope resolution operator, compute function. Next, open the function here. If position is greater than n, then it has to display that cout insertion operator position is invalid. It has to be displayed. Then afterwards, no need to process, it has to come out from the program. For the sake, we are using exit function. Exit function we are using. Exit function work ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ stdlib ಹೆಡರ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವೇನಾದರೂ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ stdlib ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೆಡರ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಟೈಪ್ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಎರರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Prototype missing means some supporting header files are missing there. Next, what is the else part? Write on the else part. Else part is, open the flower bracket, for int I equals, from last position it has to be moved, I equals I n minus 1. Then next, I greater than or equals to position, up to position it has to perform shifting process, I plus plus, I minus minus here you have to write, because we are decreasing the position, I minus minus. Next, A of I plus 1 equals A of I. Then A of position equals element. Obviously now the array size increases, that is n equals n plus 1. Now close this part, that is else part. Now we are closing else part, we are closed, but still one more flower bracket here I have to need, that is to close the function we need one more flower bracket. Here we will write one more flower bracket to close this compute function. Next we want to write the next function, that is void insertion is the class name, scope resolution operator, display function is the last function. Here write down, that is cout insertion operator, inside the double quotes write down the array after the insertion. After insertion is, to move the cursor next line, once again end line, for loop, all the values one by one it has to display, that's why once again we are taking the for loop, int I equals 0, that is from 0th position it has to display, then I is less than n till the last element. Then next I plus plus, I plus plus. Next display the value cout insertion operator set w. Inside the bracket I am going to write 4. It means that while displaying all the values, in between we required 4 space. Set w helps to display the space in between. If you want to give more space, then you can increase the size of set w. In this case we have written 4, it means that 4 space it will go to display. Then insertion operator A of I. Then next we will close this function. display function will close. The last remaining one is the main program, that is void main. There we are first we are creating the object. To create the object, the class name, that is insertion, then leave one space, write an object. Here object name I am writing I. I is the object. Next clear screen. Clear screen. Next call the functions one by one. To call the function, object name dot get data function. One by one we are calling all the function. Next I dot compute function. Next the last one is I dot display function. The last function is display function. Then get ch. Then next close this main program. Now after typing the program, first step you have to save the program. To save the program, there you can use F2 also. Save the file, and here remove all the things whatever in save file as, just write on the file name. Here I am to write experiment 2. Experiment 2. While naming the program name, try to keep within 8 characters. Here I written expe2.cpp. This is the file name here we are given. We have saved the file. Once we have saved the file name here it will display, that is expe2 it is displaying. Then now after saving the file, compile the program by using Alt F9. Here we are getting the error. In this it is displaying totally 6 errors. To identify the error, press any key. Now wherever the cursor is displaying or showing on that line, otherwise above that line, otherwise on below that line, there will be a mistake. Here the mistake is there mentioned that undefined symbol, see here undefined symbol NLL. Is it no? Andre enter key press ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆ ಲೈನ್ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಲೈನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮುಂದಿನ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. Was the mistake they given and LL, but here the function is end line. ENDL only you have to write, double L ಬರೆಯೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Then here remove one L. Now once again compile. Then once again we have 5 errors. To identify statement missing semicolon it is displaying. ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಕೀ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕರ್ಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆ ಲೈನು ಹಿಂದೆ ಲೈನು ಅಥವಾ ಮುಂದೆ ಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಮಿಕೋಲನ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಮಿಕೋಲನ್. ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಕರ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಿಂಗ್. In the above line we have not written semicolon, write down semicolon here. Next once again compile. Once again we have 4 errors. Then insertion compute is not a member function of insertion they given. Press enter key. Here the function name here we are written as compute, but in the beginning the function name we are written as compute. The spelling it is not matching. Write down properly. Compute function. Compute. This is the function name. At the end also in the function also the same name here also you have to write. That is compute. Here also make the change. That is compute. Make the correction. Now once again compile the program. Once again we have 2 errors. Statement missing semicolon. Here it is displaying. To identify that, press enter key. Here see on that line as well as in the above that line we are not written semicolon. Write down the semicolon. Now once again compile. Now it is error free. After making all the correction, you have to save the file once again. Just press F2 there. No need to use save as. Only save you have to use. Once again no need to give the file name. Now your program is saved. Now after saving the program, run the program by using Ctrl F9. Now it is displaying enter array size. For example, I am to write 5. Enter array elements. I am going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Totally 5 elements array size I have written and I have entered 5 values. Enter the inserted elements. For example, I want to insert the element 8. Then next it is asking the position, on which position we want to insert. Position ಅನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 1 ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, 0th ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. 2 ಅನ್ನೋದು 1 ಪೊಸಿಷನ್, 3 ಅನ್ನೋದು 2 ಪೊಸಿಷನ್, 4 ಅನ್ನೋದು 4th position ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ because the first element start from 0th position. Here we have to mention the position where exactly I want to insert. For example, ನಾನು 2 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಯಾವುದ್ರ ನಡುವೆ ಬರಬೇಕು? 0 is present on, sorry 1 is present on 0th position. 2 ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ನನಗೆ it has to be display in between 3 and 4. In between 2 and 3 it has to be displayed because the first one is 0th position, then 1, then next 2. It has to be displayed. This is the, like this, you have to perform insert an element at a given position. Now is it clear? Once you have pressed enter key, then you will come back to the main program. Then to do the next program, once again, file new option you have to perform. If you want to come out from the program, file quit option, then exit function. Now is it clear for all of you? Thank you. Next class we'll meet with new program. Thank you for all of you.